week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael New Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of the shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 366, Mr. Somich.
Preps are over, huzzah!
Oh boy, they, well, almost. We actually have the Lexington Stakes this week. It's a 20-point Kentucky Derby prep. But, yeah, pretty much, we're done. Yeah, congratulations. We pretty much survived it. And now we just had to sit back and talk about the same stuff, the same 20 horses for the next 4 weeks. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready and excited. It's actually going to be like 22, right? Because we're going to have that bubble movement. We've already had a couple horses that decided they are not interested in losing on the first Saturday of May. So they have defected from the Derby field. And we'll get a couple other horses that are going to kind of sneak into it. I assume we'll have 20, man, because, you know, everyone wants to be in the Derby.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the COVID year, I think was the only time we didn't have 20, and that's because, you know, we didn't have 23-year-olds that were really running at that point that late in the season. But yeah, listen, we've got a big show. If you are joining us live, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. There's a big interaction show, as it always is, but especially today, because now that we're done with the Derby and the Oaks preps, we're just talking about everything. So we're going to dive deep into these races, but we're also going to give our top fives for this. So, Mike, let's go into it. We got some breaking news. Breaking news as of 2 days ago, Mo Donegal catches early voting to win the Wood Memorial Stakes.
God, you had me going there. I thought we were going to talk about Saya's writing Secret Oath or someone defected at the last minute, but no, we're going to talk about Mo frickin' Donegal.
Listen, I will say that this race was the Wood Memorial kicked off everything in a great way. It was a very exciting finish. Each of these three prep races, I think, gives us something a little different to talk about, which is going to be nice because otherwise it can get real boring real fast. But let's first talk about Mo Donegal. I thought a perfect ride from Joel Rosario is why this horse wins by a neck and doesn't lose by a length. What do you think?
I think that's pretty accurate. Early voting kind of got a nice early lead, and the way that this was timed out was exceptional on the Rosario side. I thought he did a great job kind of sending Mo Donegal at the right time, being able to get him into a position where he could attack early voting late. You see here early voting gets to that early lead. This is an interesting one. There's going to be a lot of buzz. Yeah, there you go. There's the breaking news. Morello actually got out of the gate. There's going to be a lot of buzz about Mo Donegal in this race. I think he's going to be one of those horses that is going to catch a bunch of hype in this spot. It's going to be interesting to see what he goes off at in the Derby. This is one of those races where the more I watch it, the less I'm interested in betting either of these horses back. You're going to have early voting. You're going to have Mo Donegal here, but I'm not sure either of them is very good.
You know, from this race, I will take early voting out of the field because remember, this is just his third career start. He's got a lot of speed. He was coming off a little bit of a layoff in a muddy track, and I think he's got a bright future. I don't know how much I want him in the Kentucky Derby to win, but I think that he's sneaky depending on where he draws, Mike, and how the pace ends up setting up because you talked about the defections we're starting to see already. I think he could be quite a sneaky play to, maybe not the exact or definitely trifecta and superfecta because he'll be that speed. And as everybody's stumble bunnying home, very few horses are going to be able to catch him, I think. So that's who I would take out of this race.
It's interesting because you say that. And he definitely was the speed in this spot. They had Craig Milowski, who does Time Form Figs, he posts up the fastest half miles from all the mile or 9 furlong plus prep races. Where do you think early voting's Wood effort here from the first half mile, how fast it was in the top 20? Where do you think he lands?
13th.
He's 8th, so he's pretty far down there. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get to the lead in the Derby. I think he's going to be forced to kind of stalk off it or use way too much horse to be able to get out there. We saw even with this slower pace, he was still struggling at the end here to obviously try and hold off Mo Donegal, wasn't able to do so. So I'm worried that without a faster pace, he's going to have less and less of a chance to be able to get the job done. Yeah, Morello, the 5 horse here, you can see broke really poorly there. He's the other one out of here that I think is going to garner a lot of talk. To me, Morel is more of a one-turn horse, but this is one you just kind of draw a line through after that break.
It's definitely, poor Morello. I think we also learned we don't want him in the Derby, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think early voting is. I don't think he's a win contender. I just think if you want to play him, a horse that can hold on, because so many of these horses are going to be gasping for air behind him. Mo Donegal, I've seen a lot of people, and it was brought up on the live feed that we did. Mo Donegal is a Belmont horse. Do you like that idea better? Do you understand why people would think Belmont over Kentucky Derby for him?
Yeah, I do. So let's just talk about Mo Donegal here. And right now you can see Mo Donegal sitting here on the rail, the one horse. Here's the thing. Mo Donegal needs a really good trip, and that's what Rosario's able to get him here. He's able to find a way to kind of weave through horses and get the job done. And this is a 9-horse field, 8-horse field, not that big. When you go to the Derby and you're facing 20 horses, and your whole thing is that you're a grinder, right? You need to get loose and then get wide. You need to be able to not lose your momentum, because if you do at any point, you're not going to be able to get it going quick enough to be able to really make a run. And that's what Rosario does here. You can see he's able to get him loose here. Then he's going to duck to the inside of the 7, be able to make a move around the 3. Mo Donegal never has to stop at all. Yep. The problem is in the Derby with 20 horses, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to get this type of trip where you're essentially weaving in and out, going up the rail, then you weaved outside a horse at the backstretch, then up the rail around the turn, then able to get the rail here, then you go wide, never got stopped. With 20 horses, you're going to get stopped somewhere. When you go to the Belmont, first off, you have a longer stretch, which is great for a horse like Mo Donegal, who clearly needs to take some time to get his momentum going, but you also have less horses to try and find a way through. So it makes much more sense that you see him successful in the Belmont versus being successful in the Kentucky Derby.
The 2 Saffies get 3rd and 4th here. Everybody else, Barisi, that's a New York bred that was facing Open Company and got his first loss, I think, back to New York bred. For him, we'll give the last question and we'll move out of here. Steve asks, who's riding Mo Donegal for the Derby? Because, of course, Joel Rosario is riding the Kentucky Derby winner Epicenter. So Mo Donegal is going to have Irad Ortiz. It's Irad, it's Pletcher. It's going to be a good fit for them.
He's going to have Irad? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yep.
That'll be interesting. That's who you want.
Well, because Chad Brown's actually best 3-year-old has the best jockey in the world aboard, and that's Flavien Prat on Zandon. By the way, can we just give a quick round of applause to Flavien Prat? I mean, my God, talk about saying I'm officially moving on from California, putting on your big boy pants and just shitting on everybody in Keeneland. It was so beautiful to see. Love our boy. All right, so he pilots Zandon here. I apologize in advance if you're watching this live for the replay. Which horse is he? He's white cap, blue silks.
He's a 4-horse.
He's saddle cloth. You can't tell. I mean,
this one right here.
There you go. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so Zandon kind of takes back a little bit farther than necessarily anticipated. Flavien Prat sensing some trouble there. But what did you think about Zandon's effort here? I was quite impressed.
Zandon ran very, very well. I mean, when you watch this race live, you see Emmanuel out there, and Emmanuel's setting the pace and going pretty slow. I mean, he goes 24 flat, basically, almost 48 flat. I thought he was going to be very, very dangerous when he got loose like this. And Zandon kind of gets shuffled here. So now you can see Zandon's in second to last place here in the blue with the white cap. And it looks like just a world of trouble. And now if you can follow this 4-horse, Flavien will show you just how to ride a horse through traffic, because this is a beautiful job of not getting in any trouble, especially with horses around him bumping, which you'll see here. So he gets shuffled all the way back, and you can see even the NBC pace number up there says it's slow. So to be able to come from last with what you'd think is a decently quality horse in Emmanuel setting the pace into a slow pace is pretty darn impressive. You see Rattle and Roll rolling up to the outside there. Smile Happy, the 10-horse sitting right here. And now watch Zandon here with Prat. I mean, so he's in the blue with the white cap, starting to come up. He's now into 4th to last. Shoot. And he's going to weave right to the inside of these horses. Shoot. And you're going to see the 2 outsides start bumping back and forth. He's then going to go right to the outside of Smile Happy when he gets this split. And once he gets loose, Zandon just accelerates. I mean, and this is a master class in how to be able to dodge traffic going through the lane. Again, an absolutely wonderful effort. I'm a little concerned, again, if you try and do this at the Derby, you've got 20 horses in front of you, and Prat and Ortiz, 2 of the best in the world, are still going to have trouble getting through all these horses clean without having either of them to stop.
This was such a beautiful performance from Flavian Pratt. I loved it. My God, it was so fun to watch him do that in that race. Like you said, Mike, he just weaved so perfectly through. Now things have to open for him, but when the holes opened, he took advantage of them before they shut on him, and that's something that a lot of jockeys struggle with. There really wasn't any. I don't know if there's anything else here that we really want to talk about. Well, yes, there is. Smile Happy. Smile Happy in a second. Let's watch. He's 3 wide, and I was actually very surprised that he was this forwardly placed. Were you?
I thought that Zandon and Smile Happy would be in opposite spots. And you hit the nail on the head. He ended up 3 wide on both turns. So a little bit of an excuse just from a trip perspective there on the Smile Happy side, although I really think this was kind of the instructions. It was, don't let the lead get too far away from you. You're probably the best horse in the race. Just take it to him when you get the chance. I mean, this is very similar to what we saw from Kathleen O. Just don't get in trouble. Go wide both turns, and you'll just beat him down the lane. And unfortunately, Zandon just fired here for the connections of Smile Happy. And that was really the difference, is that Zandon ran Smile Happy down. I thought Smile Happy ran a very good race here and just was second best.
Buyer speed figure wise, I just lost the page. I moved off of. There we go. Zandon gets a 98. That's back-to-back 94s for Smile Happy. So 4 races. The first 2 very impressive route victories, 82 Buyer, 90. Both times at 3 now, he's gotten a 94. So if you're a Smile Happy supporter, are you a little worried? Did he not take a step forward? Did he not take enough of a step forward here from start 1 to start 2 at age 3?
Well, I think that's a little. I think he did take a step forward. So let me start with that. Like I'm not just going to be a slave to a Buyer number and say, oh, it's the exact same effort in this sense. I think that the race that he ran here was a little bit better than what we saw last time, being forwardly placed and also being wide on both turns. I thought was a improvement from the Smile Happy side. So I don't think it was necessarily a negative move in that sense, that Smile Happy took a step backward. So to me, I felt like this was a little bit of step forward. I still have a Lannery issue, although Lannery did everything right here, so I'm not going to knock him for this trip. The trip was fine. He did everything he was supposed to, just got run down late. But to me, I mean, this is really about Zandon and what he did. I think this – I am very hard-pressed to take Smile Happy at anything under 10-1, and I'm not getting 10-1 or over. So for me, Smile Happy is off any type of my win bets. Maybe he fits the 4th spot in the try or in the super or something like that. Zandon's a little tougher. I mean, you look at this, and where we got the chart up here, we always talk about, well, let's see where other people finish. Smile Happy was 4th. Emmanuel was 1st. Golden Glider was 2nd at the half mile, or at the quarter mile point, and 1st, 2nd, and 3rd at the half mile point. No one else closes, and Zandon was in 10th. And so it made this move into the top 3 that held. So it's a very, very impressive move from Zandon here.
Between early voting and Zandon, one of those horses is hitting the board in the Derby for Chad Brown. I have a strong feeling about it. And you brought up Smile Happy, definitely hitting the super. Trish Smith agrees with you in the chat. Vashon says that Zandon is his Derby pick if he breaks well. Thinks he wins by open lengths. He does have some trouble breaking a little bit, but I think the horse definitely has the ability to get the distance going to mile and 8. The way that he finished this race was good. I want to bring up Pedlo brought up a great question here. Why is one horse, Mike, getting through a big deal when it's Zandon versus it's going to be trouble when it's Mo Donegal? I have an answer, but I want to go to you first on this one.
Well, I mean, to me, I think they're both in trouble. I mean, I think both of them are going to have to work to get through it. I'm not going to pick either to win the Derby. I can tell you that right now. So in my mind, they both have the same issue. I trust Pratt a little more than I trust Irad. And I also think that Zandon is more tactical than Mo Donegal. Mo Donegal struggled to get out of the break more and kind of always comes from the back. Well, Zandon's shown speed before. So you have more tactical speed with Zandon, and you really have a one-dimensional horse in Mo Donegal. So to me, that's the main difference between the two of them, is that I feel like Zandon could be closer if he wants to be. It's going to come down to the draw for both of these horses. I mean, if either of them draw to the inside, good night. That's a terrible draw. If either of them draw way outside, it's a lot of trouble as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where both of them end up. But in my mind, they are very similar. You're going to get a bad price on both of them. The difference is Zandon has some tactical speed.
Which one is the worst price, the lower price? I think Mo Donegal's got a lot more love.
Well, Zandon's the morning line favorite, according to multiple people right now. So
Derby favorite?
Yeah. So I would be surprised. Yes. It's multiple DRF guys who put up their morning lines, and the early Churchill line was all Zandon 4-1 or 3-1. So Zandon is currently your early favorite, but I disagree with that. And you're also seeing the overseas boards disagree with it. They all have Epicenter as the favorite. So, but yeah, to answer the question on Pedlo's side, the difference is specifically the early speed that Zandon does possess when he wants to. And this was just a race where I think he got shuffled a little bit.
I also, great points. I don't disagree with any of those. I'll add that I think that Zandon was able to reel in the speed and get past it. And Mike, you brought up a great point. The speed, they shifted positions, but they pretty much all stayed up front. Mo Donegal, it was a horse that was coming off of a layoff. Yes, he had everything his own way, but Mo Donegal barely caught him. And to me, that was because of Rosario's ride. Any other kind of a trip, Mo Donegal doesn't get there. Zandon had to make his way through the horses, had to make his trip, and did it by open length. So to me, that's where the difference is. Zandon visually looked a lot more impressive. Mo Donegal was just like, come on. I still stand by the statement that horse could be a grade 1 potential winner if he puts blinkers on. I think that horse just needs blinkers to focus, get him better position early, and then when he's grinding, at least he's at the front grinding when they start doing it.
Well, question for you. Which race do you think comes back better long-term? In 2 months, which race was better, the Wood or the Bluegrass?
The Wood.
Interesting. Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's the Bluegrass.
Okay.
But the problem is, like, after the top 3, I guess there's really not much we're seeing here. And it's the same thing in the Wood. Okay, I guess this is my other part. I think Smile Happy is significantly better than early voting. I guess that's the other reason why I like Zandon more than Mo Donegal. And you also saw Mo Donegal down in Florida not be able to get by, and I know that people will talk about this a little bit, but not be able to get by Simplification, and then White Abario not really closing on him in the Fountain of Youth. So I've got other issues on the Mo Donegal train there too.
I'll go back to the chat here real quick before we move on. Ron agrees with you. He thinks Zandon's got tactical speed. Charles, is there anyone in the country riding better than Pratt? No, but thank you for asking, Charles. I appreciate that.
So Benny South Street, the guy on Twitter, was tracking Pratt all weekend, and we're talking like 17-1 second, 2-1 first. It was very, very impressive what Pratt was able to do, and the fact that some of the mounts that he was getting tells you he's going to get very good mounts in New York as well. Like if I could get a future wager on Pratt winning the Saratoga jockey title, I would bet it right now if you gave me anything over 3-1, even over 2-1, I'd take it.
Rattle and roll, man. That's it. This was it, Mike. I said this was my one chance. My one-time betting rattle and roll this year in a prep race was this spot, and he
didn't run bad.
It wasn't bad, but he's not. Look where he was at. I mean,
well, here's the thing. He was four wide, and he closed, and no one else really closed. I don't think his race was bad at all. If you look at what he did, I mean, he came from 11th and got to 6th. The people in front of him at the half mile were 6th, 2nd, 1st, and 3rd, and then Zandon, who ran out, was able to do it all. So I don't think that this was that bad of an effort from Rattle and Roll. I think it's better than what it looks on paper.
This is pretty. I love this. I'll go to that one and say, listen, we've got the Santa Anita Derby to talk about here next. That's why I was giggling about, because we've got Taiba, and this is going to be just so exciting to talk about, Mike. Listen, personal feelings aside, what this horse did is historically impressive. It's never been done before, winning the Santa Anita Derby in his second career start. But like Chris says, we're rooting for Taiba to catch the foot. I am. I don't even care that it was a Baffert that won, because it could have been one of the other ones that did it, and I would have been okay. I can't stand this owner. I can't stand it. But anyways, let's watch the replay here. Taiba from post 6 is going to set a nice tracking spot, and we weren't sure what was going to happen with him, Mike, because he just, that one career race, it was 6 furlongs, and he had to be pushed a little bit to stay engaged early. So he's going to stay with Forbidden Kingdom here initially, but what did you initially, at this point of the race, what are you thinking?
Well, I thought this was a match race at this point in the race. I thought this wasn't the best trip for Taiba. I was being strung 5 wide essentially here because Forbidden Kingdom was in the 3 path essentially. I thought that Taiba's best chance was to be where Messier is, to be honest with you, and that you have you have Forbidden Kingdom and Taiba up front, and then Messier tracking in 3rd and trying to stalk, and Taiba goes past Forbidden Kingdom and then has to hold off Messier, and we have the exact opposite play out here where Messier goes past Forbidden Kingdom and has to try and hold off Taiba here. Look, this is a monster effort because they didn't exactly go slow. 46.63. That's going to be the 4th fastest half mile going into the Derby. And that's from Messier, with Forbidden Kingdom no longer in the Derby. So Messier is the 4th fastest there, with 2 of them coming out of Sunland who are faster. So I almost want to draw a line through the 2 of them. So Messier is going to be forwardly placed. So they're cooking. They're moving along. And what impressed me most about Taiba here is that Messier doesn't come back to Taiba. Taiba goes by Messier. And that to me was awfully impressive. First time going around 2 turns, first time against winners. I just tons of upside from here. Now, the big question is, was this too much too soon, right? Is this an effort that you're going to bounce off of for your Taiba? Because this is monstrous.
I want to bring up what right here in the stretch. Watch Messier, because I have seen this comment or this question. See, he hits him. He's already hit him once. Horse isn't really responding. Remember, Sanya, they got a whip rule. Hits him again. Hits him again. Hits him again. We're at the 16th pole. He didn't give up on him. Nobody, don't ever. I mean, I'm not singling you out specifically with the commenter there, but no, that horse was absolutely. Hey, today Google checked 1 billion passwords. That's pretty great, Mike. No, the point is, listen, that Johnny Velasquez does not stop trying on Messier until the shadow of the wire, when he realized Ty was gone and there's the 10 lengths to the next horse. Like, there's no point in keep hitting him. So what both of those horses did, I thought was very good out of this race.
I 100% agree. And I think that, I don't think that he stopped trying on Messier. I think Taiba just went by, and that Taiba was better down the lane. It's not like they went slow either. When you look at the internal fractions, and this is something I care a lot about, is how fast did you go at the end of these longer races, especially the ones right before the prep. And when you look at those incremental pace numbers, Taiba came home in 12.43. Messier came home in 12.98. That's faster than any of the other preps in the last furlong. So the fact that they were cruising out there and able to be faster than I think everybody else I'm sorry, Zandon did go faster, 12.32. So Zandon was the fastest, and Taiba was going to be second fastest. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh, you're talking about from the weekend?
Yes.
Epicenter's got the fastest. He averaged for the final 3/16 12 and a quarter, 12.23. I checked earlier today. Epicenter fucking cooked in the Louisiana Derby in hand, while Taiba had to be hit a few times. I will remind you.
I know you love Epicenter.
I'm just saying. Listen, we'll forget that. We're not to that point. We just got to focus on Taiba here. I'm trying to get ahead of myself already. Yes, it was an impressive ride by Mike Smith. Mike Smith said on the backstretch that he felt the horse just come off the bridle and just relax. And he's like, what horse does that in his second start in the Grade 1 Standing Needed Derby? Mike Smith did everything well, and Chris says Taiba traveling very, very well in this spot. Boy, this is a race where there's going to be split opinions. I can see it in the comments section. Hope Taiba. There's so many I hope Taiba gets the rail draw comments that I've seen today. I love it.
Well, there's all these people that have future wagers that were so excited, and then Taiba comes in and just wrecks them. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you just, and we'll get to this in a second, and we'll talk about fair odds and what we think they are. We're going to go over our Derby top 5. It's one of the reasons we're not specifically talking about where we have these horses ranked. But this is one where, like, look, if you got all others, congratulations. Like, the all other 3-year-old button is the one you wanted right now. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, the 18-1. Everyone's like, "Oh, all the Derby horses are here." And Taiba comes in and goes, "Yeah, that was great." That last quarter was Barry Bonds hitting 70 homers. Very impressive effort. All right, so we like him. We both. I will say that. I mean, I'm not going to be stupid and say he has 0 chance of winning the Derby. I think he does. Messier moving forward to the Derby. Good decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Messier, both of these horses deserve to be in the top 5 betting choices. We'll see where they end up when it comes Derby Day. I think look, the fact that you've had some horses defect, and the fact that Messier is this fast, Messier could set the pace in the Derby, which makes him ultra dangerous if that happens. Because I do think that Messier is naturally faster than a lot of the other horses that are left in the Derby. And the last thing, like having a Yaffert on the lead in the Derby is dangerous for betting anybody else.
So do you think? But that's the thing. Maybe that's partially why I'm so lukewarm on Taiba for the Derby. Is he's not? I don't see him leading at all. I mean, he definitely didn't lead here, and unless Mike, quarter horses him out of the gate, I don't know that he gets a really great draw. I don't know that he's leading the Kentucky Derby. Do you?
Oh, Taiba? No way. Taiba's not going to be in the lead, but Taiba clearly
you're
showed.
Talking about Messier. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Taiba.
No, Taiba showed that he can clearly stalk and pounce and going to sit a perfect trip in the Derby and has the tactical speed to be as close as he wants to be. So, in that sense, to me, I thought that Taiba has a nice edge there. But Messier, I think, may set the pace in the Derby now. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case, where Messier goes out and says, "Catch me if you can." And like I said, any Gafford horse on the front end, we've learned the last couple of years, is ultra dangerous.
Yeah, John Velasquez learned with Medina Spirit, save the ground, get to the front, and hold on to your nuts because you're probably going to do it. Yeah, Aaron. Hey, Aaron. Aaron says Messier is probably going to be on the lead too. We say this a lot. That draw is really freaking important. So, and hey, Chris, or I'm sorry, not Chris. Davey brings it up. Last year's second place San Diego Derby, Medina Spirit to rock your world, and goes and wins the Kentucky Derby. So, we'll see what happens. All right. Do you want to talk about Derby top 5? Are you ready for that discussion?
Oh, let's do it, baby.
It's fine. It's not too bad. Go ahead. I'll let you go first. Who do you have number 5?
All right, number 5 was actually the toughest spot for me. I'm going to put Zandon in 5th. I think he to me is the logical 5th choice right now. I don't know if I'm going to include Zandon on any of my tickets because I don't know if the price is going to be right. But I think that with Pratt, with tactical speed and the closing kick that we saw at Keeneland this weekend, I'll put Zandon in the 5th spot.
I have him on my board, but he is actually not 5th. I have him higher. I have a horse that we just saw there, and probably might still be on yours, is Messier. I think that I'm not ready to give up on this horse. I think that I don't love him, but he is still a Baffert, right? And he's got John Velasquez, and I saw somebody else mention it earlier, but who else is Baffert going to put on a Derby horse right now than Velasquez, right? Mike Smith picks up tie because it's kind of available. But yeah, definitely. I definitely think Messier still deserves to be discussed in the top 5. Even if he's not on your top 5, I still think he needs to make it. But is he on your top 5?
Well, you'll find out, man. We're not there yet.
I'm sorry. Is he number 4?
No, he's not number 4.
Okay.
Number 4 is White Barrio. I've been high on this horse. I had him as my Derby winner going into the Florida Derby. He did nothing to disappoint me except the time came back slower. And I feel like we've seen a couple efforts that are a little bit better than his last time. I still think he's a deserving favorite. I still think he can win the Derby. I think any of the top 4 that I'm going to mention can win the Derby right now. They're the only 4 that I'm currently that interested in pre-draw. We'll see what happens with the draw because I wasn't on Medina Spirit before that draw, and I sure as heck was afterwards. So we'll see what happens when we actually get to see the draw. But right now I'm going to put White Barrio number 4, and he's the first one of the 4 that I think can win the Derby.
I'm going to put Zandon number 4. I think that with Flavien Prat being aboard and this now being his Derby horse, Aaron did a great job, by the way, at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/racing dudes. You can check out Aaron's latest top 5, and he brings up a great point about Flavien Prat that when he got on a Country House, a horse that usually came from way far back, Pratt's a very tactical rider, and he knows where to put a horse. If he has the tactical speed, he can maneuver. We saw, Mike described it expertly in the replay we were watching earlier, how he can weave horses around. So with a good post position, with a good break, Flavien Prat could have that horse a little closer. And if you're going on the backstretch and you suddenly see Zandon's in like 5th or 6th instead of 16th, you're like, shit, Pratt's on that horse. And that is why he's number 4.
Yeah, Pratt adds a new dimension, and the fact that he shuffled that race doesn't mean that that's what he's going to do in the Derby. We've seen him closer to the pace in other prep races, so I do think Zandon's got a decent shot there. Number 3, now you find Messier. I've got Messier sitting at number 3 on my rankings. I think this horse has a legit shot at winning the Derby. Deserves to be, in that 7-8 to 1 range most likely, and I think is going to be your pace in the Derby, which makes him ultra dangerous. The fact that Forbidden Kingdom is out, and the fact that we have a couple of other Classic Causeway is out, who I think were 2 horses that were likely to set the pace, now not in the race. I think Messier kind of picks up that mantle, and anytime you have a Yaffert or a Baffert or whatever you want to call this horse on the lead, you got to respect it.
I don't hate how where you place him in that spot. Like I mentioned, I think he's got a shot to make the Derby. Back in 2018. There was the whole issue with Justify and should he have been in the San Diego Derby, should have won the San Diego Derby, right? Because he had the positive test. And if he shouldn't have been in that, then he should have been in the Kentucky Derby. And if he hadn't been in the Kentucky Derby, Mike, Chad Brown and Jose Ortiz would have a Kentucky Derby win on their mantle. However, they don't. This might be the year they change that. I actually have early voting number 3. I actually have that high of an opinion of early voting. After what I saw, this is a son of gun runner. Is he pretty good as a sire right now? Out of a Kingsdown mare. So we know distance is very much what this horse wants to do. Loves the dirt. He's very forwardly placed. I'm sorry, that's a terrible way to say that. He has a very high time form US pace figure there. It was 134 going into the Wood Memorial. That was a race that he was coming off of. He hadn't raced since February. I wasn't expecting the best effort from him here. We saw a great progression from his debut at Aqueduct going a mile for 76 Buyer to the Withers, gets an 87, beats Unoho, horse that ends up winning the Rebel Stakes. Didn't have a good shot in the Arkansas Derby, so we don't know what he could have done there. And then almost beats Mo Donegal despite, the long layoff. Now, you can conversely argue he had everything his own way and still lost that race. That's fair. But Jose Ortiz, speed horse, Chad Brown, the breeding to me, Gun Runner out of a Tisdale mare, I don't think people are giving this horse enough credit. And I think I might get a decent price, especially since Zandon won a prep race. I think that horse can take a lot more Chad Brown money.
Yeah, you're going to get a good price. I don't think you can win, but you're going to get a good price. I have a problem with him losing that race to Mo Donegal. Like, Mo Donegal is not going to be on my list. I'm not going to be betting Mo Donegal on Derby Day. Right now, that's the plan. At least I'm not going to officially say that, but right now, Mo Donegal, no thanks. And if I'm no thanks on Mo Donegal, and early voting got everything his own way in the wood. I mean, everything his own way, got a soft pace, was able to do it easily, had no one within 2 lengths from him turning for home, and was still caught by a horse that I'm not going to use. And I don't think is fast enough to make the lead, which means we're going to have to try and do something else in the Derby. Now, if he draws the 2 posts in the Derby, then we can change this, because then you're going to gun out of the gate and try and make the lead. Whereas if he ends up drawing like the 15 or the 16, he's in a world of hurt. So I'm going to pass on early voting. I thought this was his chance to prove himself in the wood, and I don't think he did it.
But I didn't even think about this. Vashon is a great point. If the race is in the slop, early voting, we thought Good Magic was bred for the slop. Good Lord, Gun Runner Tiz now.
There's a lot of horses that are bred for the slop that makes the Derby gate, though. Because you think about, okay, let's talk about who are the best sires in the world. Into Mischief, loves the mud. Gun Runner, loves the mud. Run Happy right now, loves the mud. Like, you have some
Giants
of
Causeway,
yeah, Giants Causeway. What's the
not this time? Son of Giants Causeway, yeah.
There's a ton of them out there that are all just love off tracks, and because of that, I don't think that an off track is necessarily going to hinder a lot of these horses, but I also don't think it means that, like, oh, this horse is going to run huge because of it. I think that it's much more of an even playing field because of how good all of the sires are that we're seeing as the top sires in the world also happen to be good off track sires.
Before we get going here, I just want to remind you, Mike, that I do love you and appreciate you as a friend and a podcast co-host. So go ahead. Who do you have number 2?
Number 2. Epicenter. I can't put him number 1 right now, and I have to put him at number 2. Look, he was very good down in Louisiana. I still don't know how good that Louisiana crop is, and that, like, we haven't had much cross-pollination here with the different crops, so it's tough to really judge who is good based on who everyone else has faced. So we're kind of a little more shaking up the box and kind of dropping out who you like here. Epicenter to me has been the most consistent horse, has the correct setup where we saw him stalk last time out, and you're going to probably talk a lot more about Epicenter here in a second, because I would be shocked if he's not your number 1 horse. But he can make his own trip. He doesn't need the lead, but if he ends up in it, he's just fine there too. He's got a ton of heart, doesn't like getting passed down the lane, has a good closing kick. I mean, he's got all of those boxes that you check from that perspective. You got Rosario on board, so a quality jockey. Ashton knows what he's doing. Like, you got everything that you'd want. I just don't think he's the most talented horse right now, and we'll get to that in a second. Magic, who is in your 2 spot?
I have in my 2 spot probably the most raw talented horse in the crop is Taiba. I don't think you look at that any other way. It's a son of Gun Runner who cost $1.7 million. I stabled the damn horse up back when so funny. I'll get to that comment in a second. I stabled this horse up when he was purchased because I went, holy fuck, a Gun Runner. First crop Gun Runner went for $1.7 million, and it's going to Baffert, and it's the guy that owns Medina Spirit, and then all the shit that happened afterwards. But personal feelings aside, what this horse did, historic, impressive, cannot knock you for loving this horse. My question marks, I guess I should say, for why I have him number 2, I can go into, I won't, but I could go into about who is he beaten, because Messier has beaten Forbidden Kingdom twice, and then lost to Slow Down Andy, who's looked like trash. Forbidden Kingdom beat a bunch of Baffert horses that have looked like trash since that spot. So I have a lot of question marks about the quality there, but the way he did it does not matter. The way that he shot past Messier. And by the way, the way that Messier won the Robert B. Lewis, he beat a bunch of trash horses there. It was still really impressive. So I have questions about what's going to happen when he gets on the big stage, when he goes, a 1.25 miles, but there are question marks about things that are just, all he has to do is prove it. It's not something I can point to and go, see, that's a problem right there. The problem is on the paper, and that is really just worthless.
Yeah, that's why he's my number 1 horse. I don't see, to me, there's no way you could not, the only horse you could possibly argue to me would be ranked ahead of him is Epicenter. I don't think it fits because, look, Messier is a top 3 horse in this crop, and he just dusted him. First time going 2 turns, first time going long. We've seen all these other horses progress and get better and better. We don't know how good Taiba is yet. That to me is one of the scariest parts about this is that, look, Epicenter's run 3 off the layoff. We've kind of seen that progression, right? We've seen horses like Modonegal go through that progression, like Zandon go through that progression. We haven't seen Taiba get to that progression point yet. You're about to see what logically is going to be his best race of his 3-year-old career, his third off the layoff, third start. This is supposed to be how you prep horses, according to Baffert, according to Brown, according to Pletcher. Like, this is what you do: is you go A, B, C, and C is the Derby, C is the best race, C is when you're fully cranked. If that wasn't fully cranked, if that was scraping the bottom of the barrel, everyone's in trouble. Taiba could dominate this race. And I think that the other problem is, if you go back and you watch the Santa Anita Derby, Taiba breaks really well and then sits. Taiba has tactical speed. Taiba can break. Taiba was on the lead sprinting in a 45-second half. So it's not, but now we know Taiba can also rate. And that was my biggest question going into the Santa Anita Derby. It was yours biggest for Epicenter going into the Louisiana Derby, was, can we actually rate? And the answer is yes on Taiba. And that makes that horse even scarier to me. So right now, Taiba is my pick. And the thing with Taiba is, like, as long as Taiba doesn't draw like the 1, the horse is pretty dangerous from any post.
It's 1, or what's the other 17? Is the one? No horse has ever won the Kentucky Derby from post 17, I think, is what that one is. So it's kind of like the other bad luck spot. Yeah, what I love is that right now, the number one battle for you and I, for everyone at racingdudes.com, for a lot of people who know what the hell they're talking about, it's the connections of Gunrunner, Winchell Thoroughbred, Steve Asmussen, versus a son of Gunrunner. If you're if you own Gunrunner, like if you're where I forget where you're standing right now, but if you're the Stallion Farm, let us know. We'd love to have a sponsor. But if you're that Stallion Farm, you're like, I don't care. We're gonna win. That this is amazing. I absolutely love what's happening with the Kentucky Derby right now. It's a good look.
Gunrunner is having a heck of a season. I mean, he's been absolutely awesome from a sire perspective. Good first out, good early precociousness in these horses. You're seeing him win early, and then you're seeing him win at distance. You're seeing him win sprints. I mean, Gunrunner's been very impressive, and even done well in the turf, which I thought was kind of random that you've seen a lot of Gunrunners try turf second and third time out and have success.
I'm loving all the Star Wars talking here. Epicenter is Luke Skywalker, the only hope against the evil Baffert Empire. And then JL responds, no, there is another. I would love to. JL, tell us who you think is the other one. This is killing it. And then Alex brought up, would Magic be able to stand up on a show if Pratt was on Epicenter? Listen, it's all I can do to sit up when it's Joel Rosario riding Epicenter. The answer is no. If Pratt has to ride Epicenter, we're not doing a live show. At least not one that I'm on.
Magic would lose it.
I'd lose. I'd be nervous. I'd be slim at right before the Breeders' Cup Classic, chain smoking on the roof of my apartment building, just going crazy. Yeah, absolutely up there. Let's go back through the chat. I'm sorry. I didn't actually say Epicenter is my number 1.
We know Epicenter is your number 1.
I'm sorry. There should be. I don't really have anything else to say. I thought we've covered him pretty well. For me, it's an experience versus an experience. I've proven versus unproven, known versus unknown, but it's going to make for a hell of a lot of content. Mike, real quick, before we get out of here, we got the Kentucky Oaks races to talk about as well. First off, let's go talk about Friday's Grade 1 Ashland Stakes at Keeneland, kicking off the day. And this is one of the few races it seems like Flavien Prat didn't win because he wasn't on a horse. I say if you want to win this race, you put Flavien Prat on it. But however, Ness gets the job done for Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz Jr., a daughter of Curlin out of an AP Indy mare, the exact same breeding as Malathat, who won this race last year for Pletcher, goes off and wins the Kentucky Oaks as well. If you didn't see the replay reaction at our channel, apparently I went a little crazy. I didn't think I was too overboard about it. Apparently I was very excited. I do love this filly a lot, so that's why I was excited. But you didn't hit play, Mike. What did you think about Nest?
I thought Ness was awesome in this race. And I thought Ness was good going into this race. I didn't think Ness was this good going into this race. And this is one of those where you watch it and you're like, all right, now what can I take out of this? What should I take out of this? Where do I kind of want to rank Ness? And to me, the Oaks I love the Derby, and the Derby's super interesting. The Oaks might be a more interesting race though, because of who you have that is going to line up into that gate and who we're going to see. I mean, Nest, you just added to the list of just another very strong contender in a race that it has a ton of strong contenders already.
I just want to sit back and watch Nest. No, this is beautiful. We don't have to talk too much about this race because I thought that she was kind of a standout among the other horses. The other one you could possibly consider was Interstate Daydream, who's setting the pace for Brad Cox. And she had a pressure pace, and Happy Soul was the stretch-out sprinter for Wesley Ward, who ends up fading to 6th, whereas Interstate Daydream misses 2nd by a nose. So Interstate Daydream could be interesting next out. I think we learned that she's not that elite. She's not She Dares the Devil, which Brett Cox has had. She's She Dares the Devil this year. She's not She Dares the Devil at 3. She dares the Devil at 5, and that's okay. You can still win a lot of races with her.
Yeah, look, the performance was pretty good. You had Cocktail Moments who came up and win second, a photo for second here. But this is just Nest and everybody else. And that's kind of what we learned in this spot. I think that there are some other good options in here long term, like maybe, the Ohio Derbies and the West Virginia Derbies for the Philly side. Those are spots where I think you're going to see some of these horses win races. But the only one that really matters in the Oaks is the one that's currently rolling away from this field. And doing so very, very impressively. Now, again, the time isn't wonderful here. As Magic skips home, this horse is skipping home in 25 seconds. So not
she just bounced it.
But still a very, very impressive performance here from Nesta, and one that I'm looking forward to seeing on the first Friday in May.
She made that look like a trampoline there. She really was jumping in the air. I love Nest. Not much more to talk about from that one moving forward. We'll head back to Santa Anita on Saturday. We had the Grade 2 Santa Anita Oaks, and this one was the biggest surprise of the entire weekend. For me, Mike, because of Dari Manor, a horse that I had number 1 once she was with Tim Yakteen. As far as the Kentucky Oaks goes, well, suddenly she's not even possibly in the Kentucky Oaks picture because she misses by a neck hang on. Yeah, no, that's right. That says Desert Dawn. Okay. All right. So she misses to Desert Dawn. I don't really know. I don't know what to think about that. Like, did she and Ain't Easy? They went fast, but I didn't think they really cooked each other out that badly.
No, she just slowed down a lot. I mean, and that's what you saw. You get 110 for 6 furlongs. They go 136 for the mile. That's 26.1 seconds for 2 furlongs there. That's awfully slow. And then they come home in 7 here. And that's why Desert Dawn's able to get the job done and pull what was by far the biggest upset in any of the press we saw this weekend. I'm
going to go get my dogs real quick. I don't know what they're barking at. I'm home alone. So,
I'll talk about this real quick because I think this is pretty interesting. We'll throw the replay on here so that you can see Desert Dawn run down and Dare Manor late. But yeah, the Oaks Derby double I think is shaping up to be wildly interesting. Aaron brought this up here on the chat. We've got Luis Saez, who's now going to step up, and beyond Secret Oath. I think that makes Secret Oath really interesting. Secret Oath was a horse that I thought was going to get overbet in the Oaks, and I still think is probably going to be a little bit overbet because of what she did in the Arkansas Derby against the boys and now switching over. But you've got Nest, you've got Kathleen O, you've got Echo Zulu, who are all going to take a lot of money. It's going to be interesting to see if we see a Dare Manor in here. After this race, I'm not really in love with her as she tried to press the pace here and was able to get caught late. This, to me, is one of those races or one of those doubles I think is setting up to be really interesting when we talk about this Oaks Derby double, because you are not going to have a standout favorite in either race. So when you have a competitive race, it's probably going to be 10 to 12 horses on the Oaks side, followed by a competitive race, which is probably going to be 20 horses on the Derby side. There's going to be a ton of value. I'm picking the double. Like right now, if I could, I would lock in Kathleen O and Taiba in the double. Those would be the two that I'm interested in. I wonder if you get like 25, 30 to 1 on that, which would be wild. You might even get more than that, which is crazy to me that you could get that good of a payout for this bet.
It's a good pause or a good break there, because right here, if you're watching live, you see Desert Dawn just kind of roll right up. An Arizona bred who I think costs 15,000 shekels. I think that's the currency in Arizona. And just rolls right up on the Dari Manor. The one horse that I'll give a slight excuse for, Under the Stars, stumbled pretty badly when she broke. I didn't catch it when we were watching live, but I saw it on the replay. Give her a slight break, but otherwise, these are California dirt horses. That's all they are.
Let's talk a little bit about that California thing, Magic, because we know you love California racing, right?
I used to.
Okay, we know you've been biased toward California horses for a long time.
Yes.
The fillies weren't good last year. The males were very good last year.
Yes.
I think we're in the exact same boat.
Yes.
I just don't think that these are very good horses. So, like, you were high into Dare Manor going into this. I was kind of like, she's probably the best horse in the race. But I think
she's the best horse in the race, but that's a low bar.
Yeah, I don't think she wouldn't have been in my try going into the Oaks going into this race. So it's to me, it's interesting here. Like, okay, now I think we can completely leave her off, but I'm just out on California fillies, period, right now.
Yeah. Here's the list of the finishers there. Nothing good. There's nothing good in that. All right. So based on that lovely note, let's head over to Aqueduct, the final race of the entire weekend as far as the preps went. The Gazelle Stakes here, and Nostalgic getting the job done for trainer Bill Mott, jockey Jose Ortiz. And walk me through what you thought about this race. Venti Valentine, I really thought that she might have it until the end there.
This was interesting to me because I thought that, like, of all the preps, at least the Philly ones, there were 5 or 6 horses I thought could win this race going into the stretch. I thought Venti Valentine was going to roll, and Venti Valentine was one of those horses I was much more interested in the Oaks going into this race than coming out of this race. It looks like she just got tired with the distance. Nostalgic able to come up the rail and kind of grind this out. It wasn't really a turn of foot. It was more of a just kind of continuing to press and go and go and go, and eventually able to get the job done. I don't think I want anybody out of this one in the Oaks, though. I think this just the horse that you would have wanted in the Oaks is Venti Valentine, right? She was the one that could have like stamped the hey, I'm a player here, and she just doesn't. I mean, this again is one of those situations where she makes the lead. She doesn't really get that much pace pressure. You've got Classy Edition sitting outside of her, but not really pressing. You've got Divine Huntress going 3 wide, and then Nostalgic just sitting in that perfect, pocket trip where just able to kind of come up the rail and get the job done. I actually thought Divine Huntress had a huge shot turning for home, and she ended up flattening out. But yeah, to me, this was whether or not Venti Valentine was a star, and we found out she's not.
Yeah, we were rooting for her. I still think she's a really great filly. I just don't. Yeah, she's not the Kentucky Oaks threat that we thought possibly she was. Nostalgic, if you forgive the fact that she wins on debut and goes straight into the 1 1/8 Demoiselle to face Nest, and Venti Valentine and Magic Circle, who all, by the way, won next out of that race. She's 3 wins on dirt and 3 starts. So pretty good filly. She doesn't have that wow factor that makes me go, yeah, I want a player to win the Kentucky Oaks. But I think she's definitely a hit the board candidate. She's got tactical speed. She can sit off or sit a little bit closer. And I think if you want a player to hit the board, she's also not really getting much steam right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you watch this race back, they went 49 and change, and they go 114. So they're not really going very quick up front compared to what we just saw in the 23:46 out of California. So, I don't see any of these horses setting the pace in the Derby. These are going to all have to sit from off it and then, or in the Oaks, sit off it and see what they can do. And I watch this race and I think about Kathleen Owen. If she was in this race, how much they would look like they're standing still right now, because they just ran a 138 mile and it looks like they're all exhausted.
I just for shits and giggles, after watching all the replays again this morning, I'm going to go back and watch Kathleen O in her last race. Oh my God. It's not. Oh my God. Let's just go right into it, Mike. Let's talk about our top 5 of the Kentucky Oaks, because we got to talk about our girl in a second here, but go ahead. Who do you have number 5 on your Kentucky Oaks list?
Oh man. Okay. Number 5. I'm going to put Echo Zulu at number 5. I think she's obviously undefeated, but I have a couple question marks coming out of that last race down in New Orleans. So I'm going to throw Echo Zulu in the 5th spot right now, but she could be tough on the lead if she's able to get it.
Shahama.
I know you love Shahama, man. You love Shahama.
So here's the thing at this point. I've got it down to, I think 2, possibly 3 horses can win the Kentucky Oaks. So if you're not in my top 3, I'm just kind of throwing you on there. I'm throwing Shahama on there because we don't know what the hell she is, and we know everything else, and we don't really like much of what else we've seen. I haven't seen Shahama in America. Todd Pletcher's got her. Todd Pletcher has a filly who's definitely high on my list. So yeah, Shahama, number 5, the horse from Dubai. Why not?
All right. I'll respect it. I'm going to go Hidden Connection, number 4. The horse that lost Echo Zulu last time. I was high on Hidden Connection at the Breeders' Cup. Stumbles out of the break. Kind of got off Hidden Connection a little bit, but I love that last race. She was grinding down Echo Zulu. I think Hidden Connection is better suited for the distance. So I'm going to take Hidden Connection in the 4 spot.
I did consider her for the fact that she lost to Echo Zulu for me is ultimately why I couldn't do it. But you know what? Don't worry, Mr. Guitar. Neither of us forgot Echo Zulu. Like Dave Barhista, I'll also take Echo Zulu for $1 at number 4. Mike, you brought up great points. I like that she's going to be second off of the layoff from the Fairgrounds Oaks. And she didn't regress from a buyer speed figure standpoint to the point that you're like, oh, that was terrible. She showed heart. She showed determination. We haven't had to see that from her before. We got to see it when there were excuses for her to lose that race, and she didn't. I'm going to take Echo Zulu 4th.
I mean, this is to me like one of the more interchangeable. People could make legitimate arguments for 6 horses, or 6 or 7 fillies, and I wouldn't tell you you're crazy. Like I think there's a lot. I think there's more Oaks competitors than there are Derby competitors on the win spot. Number 3, I'm going to go. This is tough. I'm going to go Nest, number 3. I thought she was very impressive there, winning the Ashland at Keeneland. I thought she looked great, stalking, being able to do it. The time came back pretty good, and she looked visually impressive. So give me Nest at number 3.
I have Secret Oath, number 3 here for Dwayne Lucas. I don't know if you talked about it when I stepped away for a second, but I saw Aaron brought it up in the comments. Luis Saez is taking over for Luis Contreras. So one Luis to another for Secret Oath. Luis Saez, no knock on Contreras. Luis Saez, one of the best dirt jockeys, one of the best jockeys in the world, definitely on dirt in the country. So I don't have any issue with that. I think it's a major upgrade. It's a nice move. However, I do still have concerns about her running style in terms of winning the Kentucky Oaks. I think she needs to be more forwardly placed, but you are getting a jockey that loves to be forwardly placed in Saez. So Secret Oath number 3 with room to grow.
I'm going to go number 2, so I'll just piggyback on that. Secret Oath, I think, is going to get a much better trip than we saw in the Arkansas Derby, where she was 3 wide, didn't get sent properly. I think Luis Saez is going to put her in play early and reserve that one big run for when it's needed, not for when you're passing everybody on the turn. So I feel like you're going to see Secret Oath take a monster step forward. We've never seen her lose to the girls. She didn't do anything wrong in the Arkansas Derby. Cyberknife ran a big race in that spot. It's a horse we haven't talked about much, but we probably should. Getting love in the futures odds pool, also has the fastest half mile outside of Slowdown Andy in the last preps, the fastest opening half mile in the last preps was Cyberknife. So I thought that was interesting as well. Should be a pace player. All that being said, give back to Secret Oath. I think she's going to run better in the Oaks than we saw her run in the Arkansas Derby, which makes her a major player.
Number 2, I have Ness. So you and I flip-flop our 3 and 2 there. And like you said, Mike, it's very interchangeable, whether you could have plenty of horses to make a case for. But she is definitely a horse that Nest is a horse I believe for sure can win the Kentucky Oaks. Some questions about Secret Oath, but there's still time for me to be proven wrong on that. Nest, love the breeding. If you're watching the live show, you just heard me wax poetic about the breeding, about the connections. There's really nothing that I don't love about her other than maybe the fact that she's not a super fast horse early, but with the way that the pace setup's lining up in the Kentucky Oaks right now, that's a good thing, Mike. So I've got Nest number 2.
And number 1, should we just do it?
Let's do it.
Throw up the O, baby!
Kathleen O, my God.
She's been my pick for literally months, and I'm not going to get off the Kathleen O train now. I've been talking about this horse ever since she won the Devona Dale, actually before she won the Devona Dale, because I told you better in the Devona Dale. I am going to stay right on this Kathleen O train right until it pulls into the station of Winners Central on the first Friday of May.
Shug McGahee won this race once before, 1993. Do you know who the horse was?
No.
I forgot it. I asked somebody to tell us that.
You can't ask a trivia question, not know the answer. I want to say
the horse's name was Dispute. I want to say that was
unbelievable.
Let me look. I realized it was Dispute. Okay.
Yeah.
I was asking, and then I went, shit, I forgot it. I don't know. Is it Dispute? Yeah.
If you want to know why we're so high on Kathleen O, go back and watch these replays. I mean, specifically the last one. The Devona Dale, she's ultra professional, doesn't get any room, and then able to kind of split and make a move and get to the top. She's got a turf turn of foot on the dirt. And then you watch the last race in Florida where essentially what she's done, like Castellano is told, just don't get her in trouble. She goes 3 wide, beats a pretty good horse and Goddess of Fire, gets the job done there, and does it without really being asked, just kind of rolls right on by and does it faster than the boys did later. So, to me, Kathleen O is just all systems go, and I hope she gets the trip first Friday in May because she's going to be the one I'm on.
Last word here from Vinny. Kathleen O overall in the exacta. There you go. That's the play. We love Kathleen O. Absolutely love it. Hey, listen, Vashon brings up Kathleen O could be at least 8-1 because of other connections. And the Gulfstream Park Oaks has happened, and we've seen some other fillies win since then. You give us 8-1, we're throwing all of our money at you right now.
She's not the current favorite right now. I think it was Echo Zulu was the favorite last time I checked overseas. So I think you were getting 6-1 on Kathleen O overseas, and I don't think she's going to be the favorite race day. I think Secret Oath is going to be the favorite race day. I think that with Saez aboard for Dwayne Lucas facing the boys last time, the narrative is just too good for that horse to not get bet in that spot. So I expect Kathleen O to be your favorite. I think Ness is going to take a bunch. I'm sorry, I expect Secret Oath to be your favorite. I think Ness is going to take a bunch of money. I think Echo Zulu is going to take a bunch of money. I think Hidden Connection and Kathleen O will get overlooked. So, to me, those are the two that you bet in the race.
Chris Mael, this is perfect. His mother's name is Kathleen. They're going to bet that. Kathleen Mael O. I love it. It's literally, we're just going to, that's perfect. That's so perfect. That's awesome. Love that. Kevin says we need Magic Mike shirts with the O instead of Justify. Just us just throwing up that could work.
I like it. Got to get a new logo, an alt logo, throwing up the O.
Well, that's our Kentucky Oaks top 5. Let us know in the chat, in the comments, what do you think? Who is in your top 5 for this spot? Mike, this has been a great episode of the Magic Mike Show. Really appreciate everybody joining us. We've had over 100 of you watching us this entire time. We really, truly appreciate that. If you can give us a like, it would do a world of wonders for us for trying to get more attention, more people to join in and join us in the chat. You guys were a lot of fun, and we really appreciate even people like Luis Rivas. I do it. I do it for
right.
people like you, Luis.
Yeah, Magic's like, hey, Magic, do you know who won the World Series in 1942? Yeah, me neither. Okay, let's move on now.
No, I'm really glad. Like, it was one of those things that I was like, why am I saying this? I think it's a dispute, but now I'm confused. And then you asked me, and then I was like, I don't know. No. Yeah, great point.
Ron asking about Turner Loose. Any interest in Turner Loose in the Oaks, or do you think she's a little overmatched in this spot?
Yeah, overmatched. I don't like Goddess of Fire. Don't like Turner Loose. Nope.
I think Goddess of Fire could hit the board. Like, if we look at, if part of me is like, if I'm deciding Kathleen O, I kind of have to have Goddess of Fire somewhere or like in that middle pack, because Kathleen O won by a couple lengths, but didn't like absolutely dust her, and she ran well and just got beat by a better horse. So I think you have to respect Goddess of Fire as well.
Oh, I forgot to bring this up. Thank you so much, Steve. Kathleen O, Zandon double would put Upstart stud fee through the roof next year. Both of them by Upstart. We talk about Gunner all the time. Upstart is having a hell of a year. He's got Zandon, he's got Kathleen O, reinvestment risk, micro share, who was 5th in the Santa Anita Oaks, but has won a couple of races. So yeah, or won one race.
We've also got, obviously, another storyline this weekend. That weekend is going to be the Japanese horses coming in. We're going to have one coming in from Dubai. Any love for over under half a race? Will a Japanese horse win more or less than half a race on the Friday and Saturday of Derby weekend?
I love doing this stuff live, because I'm like, there were 18 different ways you could have said that were better than how you did. Will a Japanese horse win on Derby weekend is what you're asking me.
Yes, but I said the half, but the over under. I made you're right. I should. Will a Japanese horse win Kentucky Derby weekend? Magic.
No. I don't know who else is coming besides Crown Pride that everybody keeps calling Crown Prince. His name is Crown Pride. Please stop calling him Crown Prince, Aaron.
Well, I'll take the over because they're running in Tokyo, and I'm sure a Japanese horse will win there. On the same weekend, different track. Come on, buddy. Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see who comes over. I kind of agree with you. I think Crown Pride. I think Crown Pride can't be completely ignored in the Derby, but it's not someone I want on top of the Derby. I think the Crown Pride could kind of get up for that 4th spot somewhere in there. Could be a price that hits the board, but for me, not a Derby contender.
Under Belmont over, sure, because I don't know what the fuck's going to happen in the Belmont, but no, not in the... And by the way, they do like to do that. They love to come over for the Derby and stay for the Belmont, so expect to see him in the Belmont.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this was interesting too. Crown Pride did take money in the Future Derby Pool 5. 50-1 morning line, I think, and it closed around 20-1 or so. I think you're going to see this horse get bet on Derby Day. I think it's actually going to be one of the bigger underlays, where it's getting over bet essentially, where it should be 50-1, 40-1, somewhere in that range. I think you're going to see something between 15 and 20-1 on Crown Pride in the Derby.
Listen, not the Derby, but if the Japanese horse wins another race, that's great. I don't want the Japanese will eventually win the Kentucky Derby. I'm not ready for it yet. I still need Epicenter to do it. So.
Well, if Magic's not ready yet, we better not let it happen. Gotta wait. We gotta be on your timeline.
Listen, Magic is on the struggle bus, all right? I literally yesterday I had one of those days. You know, those days as a parent where you just like, from the moment you wake up, you're just groggy and you can't ever shake it. I had 5 cups of coffee yesterday. I could have taken a nap at any point. It was terrible. I'm still feeling it.
Yeah, when you get to the 4th cup of coffee and you don't have any energy, you should just give up. I mean, it's just over by then. You're like, this isn't going to turn around now.
I wanted to. The problem was my wife was the same way, and I'm like, well, one of us is winning in this, and it's not me. I'll go make a 5th cup. Yeah, some people say I never get off the struggle bus. Listen, I do have to get off of this because I've got a lot of videos to go edit over at youtube.com/racingdudes. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, please go do that. You don't want to miss any of the great content we have coming up. 4 weeks to the Derby and the Oaks. You can bet we're going to be blasting out as much content as we possibly can. We've got a new Derby top 5 for Aaron, Oaks top 5. I had to write it down because I forgot. Top 5 Derby prep races. He ranks the Derby prep races in order of importance. So if you still want to go back and study this, maybe you want to bookmark it for later, go ahead and do that. But go to youtube.com/racing dudes. Also, by the way, credit to this guy, back-to-back weeks of great interviews for owners of the connections. You had It was Mike McKinn, right? Mike McKinn of C7 Racing Stables, and they didn't get the win they were hoping for, but Smile Happy going off to the Derby. So you can go hear more about him and their family. And if there's anyone else that you want Mike to interview, let us know. We've got happy to take requests. Mike is doing a great job of it. So let us know who you want to see.
Yeah, it's been great to have a couple owners on there, especially when like these are smaller outfits. It's not your Winchell Thoroughbreds. It's not your
no soft humans, please.
It's not your Avengers, right? It's kind of cool. The C2 is essentially brothers, and they're the owners of White Barrio, and then Lucky 7 is about him and his 4 siblings and his 2 parents. He went to the racetrack because of his dad. So fun to kind of interview some of these owners who are reaching the peak of the mountain, who are not spending the literally tens of millions of dollars every year to try and get one horse into the Derby. These guys are much smaller in the game and able to have some success. So pretty cool to talk to them and just to hear their excitement and how they can't wait to get to the first Saturday in May. I'd love to interview Pratt anytime.
Yeah, well, Mike, you're doing a great job of the interviews anyway, so I would say do it, but there's no way I could. No, I'm not. This comment was 1,000% directed at you specifically.
You would just gush the entire time.
It'd be like that. Oh shoot, the Chris Farley sketch from SNL. Remember the time you played Layla? That was pretty cool. Remember the time you won on Zandon? Yeah, it was pretty cool. That would be me.
You did a great job of weaving through traffic. Tell me about that. Be awesome.
Yeah, it would be so great. Just 20 minutes of Flavia wanting to just kill me.
This one time I bet $2 to show on you, and you won.
And it paid $260.
Yeah. There was 5 horses in the field. It was huge for California.
Listen, that's our time. Thank you so much for joining Mike and I. We went a little over, but thank you so much. Sincerely, if you joined us live or if you're listening or watching the replay back, we very much appreciate it. You can download our podcast anywhere you find podcasts and Magic Mike Show. Just search for it. RacingDudes.com, free picks for every race, every track across the country. And this Friday, coming back, we have the second Racing Dudes tournament challenge. So, Mike, real quick, 30 seconds, tell the people about it, and then we'll get out of here.
You got it. If you're a subscriber of any kind on RacingDudes.com, monthly, yearly, whatever it is, on your dashboard, you'll see Tournament Challenge there. For $10, you can enter the Tournament Challenge and compete with guys like Magic and I, as well as all the other subscribers. It's a $10 to enter. There's a cash prize to the top 3, and then we'll also have $150 in site credit to whoever finishes the highest amongst the subscribers. So Magic and I, unfortunately, not eligible for this, but you can get another $150 in site credit. And on top of that, we'll be doing a live show on Friday. The plan, I think, is from either 4:30 to 5:30 or 5:30 to 6, depending on what time the races are. So come back and check in on that. But we'll go over the tournament leaderboard, talk about the races, tournament strategy, and compare to the other big tournaments that day to kind of see where the winner would have fared had they entered the NHC qualifier or the $15,000 tournament. So it's a great way to try out tournaments. You got to be a subscriber of Racing Dudes to be eligible to enter. So make sure you subscribe over at RacingDudes.com for one of the premium picks packages, and then you can go in. Yeah, Magic, who won the last contest? I can't remember.
You won. I was going to say who got last time. Listen, if you're worried about this, about it being difficult, yes, Mike Somich did win the first one. His partner was last. Literally, we were first and last, and we didn't mean it to be that way. Mike was down in the bottom with me until like 3 races left, and he's like, I'm done. Okay, now I'm going to go get some money. But it's a lot of fun. You don't need to be worried about who you're facing necessarily because, I'm one of them.
Well, and the winner last night, so the subscriber who won was, I believe, it was Mindy who won, and she got $150 in tight credit as well as the cash prize, and on top of that, it was her first time playing tournaments, so she wanted to check out tournaments and thought it was a good way to do it, and had an absolute blast. If you enter the tournament on Friday, make sure to join us on the YouTube feed. We'll be talking about it and talking through selections and how we got the horses. It's a lot of fun. It's like,
and Mindy was cursing us on Twitter because she's already entered new tournaments since then. She's already hooked off of one.
If you've never played tournaments before, it's a great way to kind of get involved and check it out and talk through the process about why we picked horses and what angles we use to get to them. I mean, we talked about it quite a bit on the last Friday show about, I like this horse the most, but this horse is 2-1, so I'm not going to use it in a tournament. I'm looking at an 8-1 or 9-1, or that specific one. I thought that there was a pretty chalky sequence, except for the 3 loyal races, and those are the only 3 races I took stabs in. And that's, you kind of have to talk through the sequence to be able to come up with the best strategy going into it.
A great strategy for you is to make sure you like and subscribe to all of our videos at racingdudes.com and youtube.com/racingdudes. Mike and I will be back on Thursday with a pick 4, probably back at Keeneland, right? Keeneland's still racing. We got to take advantage of it. So we'll do Saturday's late pick 4 on Thursday's show. And then, of course, we'll see you Friday for the live video and the subscriber-only tournament. Until then, I'm Magic.
Well, I'm Mike, but I'm a little mad at you right now. I hit the pick 4 this weekend. It paid $20
for $21.40. Yes, you absolutely did. I'm Magic. He's Mike Follis. I'm at Curse Code. He's at Somobomb 18 number 1 number 8. Good luck this week. We'll see you on Thursday.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,